half against LSU down in Baton Rouge. The Bucks looking for their first Division I win of the year. And the tap is controlled by Dorian Onwuchekwa, and off we go. Thanksgiving Eve hoops at the corner of First and Fowler. And Naithan George, the sophomore who had his best shooting night of the season, his last time out goes right to Ndongo and a one-hand alley-oop. John, that's what you're talking about.
Hey, that's the two-man game right there. The two sophomores, these are the standout guys for the Jackets, and picking up full court. Nate George, hungry on defense, playing 94 feet.
So a quick foul on Naithan George, but that's one of the challenges for Georgia Tech these last couple of times out. They have struggled offensively in the first half. The Buccaneers, led by Taje Kelly, their senior forward from Atlanta. He started every game this season. So is Dalen Berry. A new face in the lineup, though, Derek Harris Jr. from Camilla, Georgia, making his first start as a Buccaneer. And Kelly goes to work on Onwuchekwa, and he's got two. For the Yellow Jackets, one change to their starting lineup from last game. Jaeden McCollum, the transfer from Oklahoma, is out tonight. He is in protocol. Therefore, Lance Terry gets the start. He's been their sixth man. George hangs and is shot short. Rebound to Kelly.
See Georgia Southern defensively playing man-to-man, really forcing Georgia Tech away from the middle of the floor on that possession.
Underneath, there's Harris. Now Jones with it. He goes up and draws contact. Our officiating crew, led by Clarence Armstrong, Mark Schnurr, and Connor Penn.
Reese Jones, you know, he's a guy that he's had his spots this season. He had 21 points, 14 boards in that, tough loss to LSU, in which they were in the game. We're up by 5 at the half in that one, Wiley, but he was 9 of 9 perfect from the field against the SEC foe in LSU.
Yeah, he's shooting 70% from the floor and less than 50% from the free throw line. So Yellow Jackets want to make it earn it. Hits his first. Hits them both. For Georgia Tech against Cincinnati, they turned the ball over 10 times in the first half, 5 in the first 3 minutes, and Charleston Southern applying some press. Terry zips it into Onwuchekwa and swatted on the arm by Reese Jones.
Well, I like the attack. They throw over the pressure, the 1-2-2, three-quarter court press, and they're on a 3-on-2 on the backside. Onwuchekwa a little bit slow to get to the rim. I'd like to see him catch and go directly up, but he's at the line. He's playing great ball. He has 24 rebounds in his last 3 games, 3 in which he started. So it's 8 boards per game for the freshman.
Been a tough start for Onwuchekwa at the free throw line for Georgia Tech. He's 0 for 7 this year. There's a look at head coach Damon Stoudamire in his second season. And he harped on one thing in particular tonight, John, and moving forward for Georgia Tech. They've got to have better ball movement. Ndongo and Jones crumple down on top of each other.
I think it's just the details, the attention to details. Offensively, ball movement is crucial, but you also need, good positioning, good spacing, the screening, the timing of the screens, all these things that you work on in practice early in the season, Wiley. Jackets just need to fine-tune those things.
Kelly lost control of it. You saw Dalen Berry at the point guard position for Charleston Southern, a transfer from UNC Charlotte, first year as a starter. Berry here to inbound. Gets it into Kelly. For Charleston Southern, we mentioned, have not beaten a Division I team this year. They defeated Morris College, an NAIA school, a few weeks ago. Shot clock winding down. Harris has got to send it upward. It's short, and Nate George the rebound. Onwuchekwa from the free throw line. It falls.
Nice execution by the Jackets, pushing tempo, and that was a high percentage look for the big man, about 12 feet out, straight on.
And both teams applying full court, three-quarter court press. Each of these teams have had trouble turning the ball over this year, and there's a three-pointer falling for Thompson Kamara. Now 2 of 10 on the year. He has struggled with that shot so far.
Collectively, as a team, Georgia Southern just shooting 26% from beyond the arc on the season. There's the big man. showing the range.
That's a part of his game, and like Kamara, he struggled shooting the three these first few weeks. But for Onwuchekwa, Coach Stoudamire says just about getting confidence. Baseline drive. Harris can't finish from underneath. And around 3 Yellow Jackets, he gets the rebound and then taps it back to Jones. Great effort from Derek Harris Jr. getting the start. Jab loose by Terry. Now a chance to get out and run. And a layup, no. Stick back, Wasey Reeves, yes.
That's what Wasey Reeves brings to the Yellow Jacket team. 37 games played, 37 starts. He's a leader, an unsung hero for this team, and his player development, he's gradually getting better each game.
And that three drops in for Taje Kelly. Charleston Southern, in that loss to Furman last weekend, they shot just 4 of 23 from beyond the arc. As George from the short corner gets it to drop.
You saw Kelly make the basket there. He also had 15 and 8 against LSU. He's an Atlanta native, played at Grayson High School up in Gwinnett County, not far from the Flats here.
Yeah, nearly won a state title as a junior, lost by 1 point to Wheeler High School. In fact, he was high school teammates with Davon Smith back at Grayson, former Yellow Jacket. And that ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Charleston Southern. Both teams connecting from long distance these first couple of minutes. The Yellow Jackets and the Buccaneers, they've struggled to score recently. Not in the open tonight. Onwuchekwa for the Yellow Jackets and Taje Kelly for the Bucks. Fiery. He'll chirp back at Coach Stoudamire in practice, give him a little something.
And I wouldn't do too much of that, but to steal him from Colorado, I mean, there's a Buffalo team that's going in the right direction. Knocked off UConn last night. Great get for the Jackets. And again, this is an institute here in Atlanta and the ACC in this city. You can recruit from the entire globe. They can get talent here, and Coach Stoudamire's done a nice job of that.
After a missed three-pointer from Keenan Wilkins, got a foul coming here on Lamar Odin Jr. Another Georgia native out of Douglasville, product of Green Forest Academy. Spent the last 4 years at Drexel University, now at Charleston Southern for his 5th and final year. Ibrahim Suare getting some early minutes, as is Duncan Powell. They've checked in for Georgia Tech. Terry floats, hits.
I like that action. There's no coverage in the middle. And that's what I like on that possession for Georgia Tech is the ball movement, 1 or 2 ball reversals, and they get a wide open layup. And that was an emphasis coming into the game. Move the basketball, switch sides of the floor, make the defense work.
Suare a long way from the paint, races back. Wilkins now penetrating, kicking out Taje Kelly. That three won't fall. So far, Charleston Southern, half their field goal attempts have been from beyond the arc. And a foul coming here on Keenan Wilkins. He and Naithan George colliding.
Here we'll take a look at Georgia Tech's last possession. There was a ball movement. And Lance Terry, a guy that's great playing downhill. He's a veteran guy, 3rd leading scorer on the Jackets roster. At a season high at home against Georgia. She had 20 points in that game. He can score the ball.
Yeah, and all 20 of those points came in the second half. He sends a sharp bounce pass into Ndongo, and he's found that touch around the rim. That's been a challenge for Baye the last couple of games. He's been getting quality looks, just has not been able to connect on.
Ndongo 2 of 2 from the floor, 4 points. Again, he's 2nd team preseason all ACC selection. Only took 4 shot attempts in the loss against Cincinnati on Saturday, so Jackets doing a nice job getting the basketball.
Yeah, those 5 points against Georgia, the fewest points he had scored since early February last year against Louisville.
And we had a look at Suare, number 30. He and Baye Ndongo both bring length to the lineup defensively. Can really cover some ground, both athletic, wiry guys that can contest at the rim as well.
The biggest challenge for Suare, trying to stay out of foul trouble. Last 12 minutes of gameplay, he's now got 7 fouls. Of course, spanning multiple games. Keenan Wilkins, the freshman.
Coach Nimley's team, a team that plays smart basketball. They shoot more free throw attempts than their opponents. They don't foul and give away points at the free throw line. Very heady team. Their Achilles heel has been shooting the basketball just 55% from the free throw line on the season and struggling from beyond the arc.
And there's a turnover the other way. Barry, can he recover? No. But we got a foul coming. Charleston Southern, they've shot just 26% from beyond the arc this year. And here's a look at the turnover. The live ball turnovers, that's been a major point of emphasis for Coach Damon Stoudamire the last couple of weeks. They played just the 2 games over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's, it's just focus, and you got to go through growing pains, but entering league play, those are things you got to clean up.
So Barry hits the first free throw. Jalen Gibson heads to the bench for Charleston Southern. Reese Jones returns, and Naithan George now with 2 fouls. He heads to the bench. And you can see Charleston Southern, they haven't had trouble getting to the line. They just haven't capitalized. And now Jaeden Mustaf.
Charleston Southern getting to the line 22 times per game, and they're making 12 of them. So leaving 10 points at the line, that's a huge number. .55% from the free throw line's not going to get it done, and they're 26% on the season coming into this one from beyond the arc, and 42% of their shot attempts, Wiley, are from beyond the arc. So, you add those 2 stats up, if they can correct that, defensively they've been good. Just shooting the basketball, and then not a team that turns it over a lot.
Jaeden Mustaf, his jumper is short. And another storyline developing here, John. We have not seen R.J. Johnson yet tonight, who is Charleston Southern leading 3-point shooter. He started 4 games this year, as Kelly can't miss with the right hand, or can't make it with the right hand. Played 38 minutes in their loss to Furman, but we have not seen him tonight, and there's no preseason, or I should say pregame notice or anything like that.
Yeah, he's also the leading assist man. 32 assists on the season, 20 turnovers. He's a big piece.
And a turnover. Here comes Mustaf. Lift off. And Baye Ndongo there to clean it up.
Wilkins had good hands, but Georgia Tech cleaning up the backboard. Ndongo's eating pre-Thanksgiving meal right there off the glass. Georgia Tech up 8, largest lead of the game. We'll be back at Clements Court in Atlanta. Maybe Moose knows, guys?
I bet he does. I mean, yeah, you can text him, but. After a few sluggish first halves, Georgia Tech has put up 20 points. They're shooting close to 70% here in the first 7 minutes. And John, a lot of that damage has come around the rim.
Yeah, Georgia Tech has done a nice job the last few possessions getting stops, pushing tempo, and the hustle factor. A number of guys on the roster cleaning up the backboard by Ndongo on that last possession with the hustle play.
So out of the timeout will be Dalen Berry, bring the ball up the floor for Charleston Southern. Guarded by Duncan Powell, who was really the silver lining in that loss to Cincinnati for Georgia Tech. Gave him 10 points off the bench, and a poor pass is picked off by Terry. And Mustaf bowling over Keenan Wilkins. It's been a little bit of an adjustment for Jaeden Mustaf to the college game. Of course, he had that right wrist injury. And for Mustaf, he feels like he's being guarded differently here at the college level than he was in high school. A lot more of the defenders are going under those ball screens than what he saw in high school.
Yeah, and the hardest part about that, if you're not a knockdown three-point shooter from, when your defender's going under screens, to have the patience to let the game come to you. Don't feel like you've got to force, because he's a guy that defensively, athletically, he's played at a high level. He can play in this league, but as a freshman, he just needs to learn, observe, play hard, play defense, and not force the offense. It'll come. He will develop. They've got a great coaching staff, and again, the injuries don't help.
Yeah, you see that left wrist taped up, I beg your pardon. But it's tough enough to jump into college basketball as a true freshman, as Kelly misses the first free throw. But to play your first game against West Georgia, then you miss 2 games against North Florida and Texas Southern, and your next 2 are against Georgia and Cincinnati, 2 teams that are extremely physical. That makes it that much tougher.
I think Mustaf will thrive against those opponents. I mean, he's a guy that can play downhill. He's physical, he's strong, he's athletic. His game, he can get it going, get to the free throw line early, sprinting the floor, hitting the offensive glass, getting some runouts. Just needs to get comfortable, needs more minutes.
He's going to get the opportunity here tonight. Nate George pick up those 2 fouls early. Charleston Southern, they have not hit a bucket in nearly 5 minutes. But they have been getting to the free throw line. And we got a foul here on Reese Jones. We'll step aside. Georgia Tech, a 20-12 lead.
And the staff, Trey Johnson, Nate Lewis, guys that have played at Charleston Southern. So 3 of your 5 have a lot of pride in the university and can definitely recruit and sell that vision in support of Coach Nimley. And then Mike Howland, a great associate head coach coming from William & Mary, and before that, spent time on some winning teams at Winthrop. So solid staff.
Mustaf taking it to the hole, and there's 2. As Georgia Tech gets ready for Oklahoma and North Carolina next week, I think these next 2 games, including tonight, going to be big for Jaeden Mustaf as Charleston Southern turns it over.
Yeah, minutes played. I mean, that's the best teacher for players, is get out there, especially a freshman like Mustaf who's battling some injuries. Get the minutes, and then spend time with your assistant coaches. Watch film. There's a lot to learn. Game is different at this level. And if you're coachable, we know he's talented. Those things add up.
Luke O'Brien just checking into the game. Unloads it to Ndongo. Works it back out to Mustaf, who between JV and McCollum being out tonight, and Nate George pick up those early 2 fouls, we're going to have Mustaf running the point, and we got a foul on the rebound.
Even that possession right there, he had the size advantage, was a little bit hesitant. I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, thinking, hey, I've got a 6-inch advantage right here. This is my bucket. It's still a high-quality shot. But that'll come with confidence, that offensive-minded scorer's mentality. He's a guy that, you get a mismatch like that, you can score on that all day, get to the free throw line.
Conversation here between Connor Penn and head coach Nimley.
Coach Nimley working on the sidelines. Got down in a stance, selling it.
And that's because Taje Kelly just picked up his 2nd foul. So both teams now with 6 fouls. Wasey Reeves to inbound. A little give and go between the freshman and Jaeden Mustaf flushes it with 2 hands.
Nice backdoor, freshman to freshman on that play. So getting used to playing with each other on the floor. That's a nice combination of true freshmen. You don't see a lot of 2 freshman combos on the floor at the same time anymore in the college game.
Tough shot for Harris, a battle for the board. And it'll stick with Charleston Southern, but the freshman from Bowie, Maryland, starting to find his legs here.
Right there, Dalen Berry took his eyes off his man, was caught staring at the ball, no weak side help. And there you see the athleticism of the freshman getting up, finishing at the rim. Jackets up 12, largest lead in this one.
A longer conversation between Clarence Armstrong and the officiating crew, confirming that they do have it as Buccaneer basketball. Be the freshman Wilkins to inbound. And it goes to Taje Kelly, senior from Atlanta, in the painted area, going up against Ndongo. And a foul here on Ndongo will put Kelly at the line.
Well, that's nice action by Charleston Southern on that possession. They needed a basket bad, got the ball to their most aggressive scorer in the paint, Kelly. One-on-one ISO situation against Baye, and he drew the foul.
So Kelly at the line missed his first 2 free throws. He's shooting below 50% on the season. But Charleston Southern, they're missing a big piece, it appears, offensively tonight. R.J. Johnson, who played 38 minutes and is shooting over 40% from 3, is in street clothes, John. We did not get any notice about him being scratched. He is not scratched in the official game book, but he appears to not be available, at least for the time being, as Kawasi Reeves spins, hangs, and hits.
Nice possession again by the Jackets. Yeah, R.J. Johnson, he's averaging 32 minutes per game. He's the leading 3-point field goal percentage shooter and 3-point shot maker, as well as the leading assist man. So a huge void in Charleston Southern's roster tonight.
And a poor pass from Lamar Odin Jr., another turnover. And Charleston Southern, they have not hit a shot from the floor, John, in the last 6.5 minutes. So clearly missing R.J. Johnson, who was an all-Big South Conference honorable mention last year. In fact, he led the conference in minutes per game. So it's not just the production, but I mean just the sheer minutes. That would be a considerable absence. Naithan George back on the floor with his 2 fouls. On Wuchekwa taking it himself. Can't get it to fall. A battle for the rebound, and it winds up in the hands of the smallest man on the floor, Keenan Wilkins. Transition 3-ball, Barry way offline. They're going to get on Wuchekwa there on the contact on the rebound.
Buccaneers had the right idea on that possession, pushing tempo. The pitch ahead had a good look, but like I said, that's been the story this season. 25% as a team from beyond the arc, but the hustle is there. We'll get to the line. Chance to hurt them the hard way.
Odin Jr. hits the front end of a 1-and-1. You hear the name Odin, you think of one guy, right, John? Greg Oden. They are cousins. Lamar, second cousins with Greg Oden, former Ohio State Buckeye. Apparently distant enough cousins to not get that 7-foot height.
He's still got good size, and again, he played meaningful minutes at Drexel.
Off the knee of George and right to Kawasi Reeves. And a loose ball pulled down by Dalen Berry. Wilkins catch and shoot 3. It won't go. Kelly looking for the offensive rebound. Wuchekwa diving. It'll stick with Charleston Southern, but we're going on 7.5 minutes now. Charleston Southern has not made a basket.
And you can't fault the looks. They're getting good looks. Just
it's a make or miss game, John.
I mean, it's a shot maker's league, right? You got to make those shots. And you know, I think as a coaching staff, you're happy with the shot selection. You got to play that way. I mean, a team that shoots 42% of their field goals from beyond the arc, that's philosophical. That's the way they play. Don't think, pitch ahead, take high percentage shots. That's what's repped in practice. But early on in this season, have not been able to find the stroke.
And as much as you may hear it preached from your coach, I mean, as a shooter, at some point, it does feel a little tense, like we've got to have this next one, right?
Now, I agree, Wiley. And Georgia Tech, they're just stacking points, high percentage shots, getting stops, one and dones, and gradually pulling away with this one.
16-4 run for Georgia Tech. Terry creates a steal. Here we go. He's got the launch codes. Lance Terry. And a timeout on the floor called by Coach Sa Nimley. He may only stand 6'3", but he's got a 40-inch vertical.
Take another look at this. The pitch ahead, the Jackets in command. Terry taking early serving on Thanksgiving week here. Good memories. It was in '98, Coach Kremen's coach team. We won 103-63. And then Paul Hewitt's first year, senior season, November 21, 2000, was an 85-62 victory early in the season.
See if we can find those highlights, throw them up at halftime.
12 points in that last one, right?
Yeah, there were.
We looked it up.
Yeah, you guys left some points at the free throw line, though. It was something like 25 for 50 or something like that. Charleston Southern just desperate to get the lid off the basket. Taje Kelly facing up on Onwuchekwa, the extra pass. And Kelly, there it is on Ibrahim Suare. And for the first time in nearly 9 minutes, that's a made basket for Charleston Southern.
Great action coming out of the dead ball situation. Sa Nimley dialed it up, cleared the weak side of the floor, went two-man game.
And Ibrahim Suare not worried about Reese Jones there.
Nice job keeping the ball high on that possession. He caught it, gathered, ball never came down. Solid fundamentals.
Kelly, too strong. There's the putback for Jones and second chance points. That was how Charleston Southern was able to take a lead into halftime against LSU and Baton Rouge. They outworked the Tigers on the glass. And when you're shooting the percentage they're shooting, you're going to need those extra shots. Onwuchekwa double teamed. Duncan Powell tries to stroke one, and it's well short.
Step back to find the line. Yeah. He had 10 points his last game and a heat check coming out of the gate.
And we got a foul here. It's going to be on Reese Jones. That's 3 on Jones.
Yeah, that hurts. Depleted lineup already. Foul trouble starting to creep in for Coach Nimley's squad. The Buccaneers gonna have to find some power punch from the bench tonight.
Well, coming off the bench, it's going to be Lachey Olaliri. Played just 5 minutes against Furman. So he's in for Reese Jones, presumably for the rest of the half. Suare at the line.
Again, the absence of R.J. Johnson, a guy that's shooting 44% from 3 coming into this one, third leading scorer on the Bucks roster, and the leading assist man. So it's a night where for the Buccaneers roster, it's going to be some of the parts. Need guys to step up, make plays.
Yeah, with the injury to Johnson, it's only 10 players available, and Anthony Gause, a freshman, hasn't played the last couple of games. There's no official update on his status. And Suare gets the high bounce. It's the Yellow Jackets shooting nearly 60% from the floor. Offensively, it seems like they found some better ball movement too. 8 assists, just 2 turnovers. They've been taking good care of the basketball. Oden's 3, well short.
And again, that's how they play. There was no hesitation. The shot was there. It went up, and again, air ball on that possession. We've seen a couple just hit the backboard totally, missed the rim.
You look at Oden's first 3 years at Drexel, he was shooting nearly 35% from 3, but the last year and a half, something's just fallen out of sync in his shot. Naithan George, a little Hessian drive and a lay-in off the glass. Yellow Jackets have broken it up to 18 now.
The change of pace on that possession. Nate's very good at that. Get the defense to freeze, and then a jolt to the rim to finish. And there he is with the offensive putback. Good effort. Mustaf came down, rolled the ankle a little bit on the end of that play. Looks to be okay.
This time it's Kamara, and he buries it. Charleston Southern needed that. They're now 3 of 12 from beyond the arc tonight. Onwuchekwa going up, batting for the ball, and it's O'Leary with it. Derek Harris lost his footing, but he's back up and running. And now Lance Terry, who's already got 4 steals tonight, bumping up against Barry. Six seconds to shoot. Barry's going to have to attack, off-balance shot, and Ndongo ripping away the rebound. So far, it just seems like Georgia Tech's pace on both ends of the floor has improved as Nate George hits another mid-range jumper.
Well, he was just probing the defense, found the step back. Nice shot by the sophomore. Georgia Tech up 7 gives. He's got 3 rebounds as well. He's playing hard. 4 of 7 from the floor, 12 minutes of play. His output is there, his efficiency is there. More importantly, his mentality. That's what needs to carry on as they start playing stronger opponents.
You think it has to do with the shoes? They're pink.
Might be.
Between George's pink shoes, you got Baye Ndongo with the turquoise. A lot of color out there on the feet tonight. As Terry's got some purple ones. Either way, 5 seconds to shoot. Wilkins has his pass disrupted by Ndongo. He runs the floor. He will go to the free throw line.
Mustaf, a nice job, recognition. The jump stop, the soft touch pass. Jackets out and running. Ndongo to the line to stretch the lead. We'll be back. McCamish Pavilion. Downhill, get to the paint, get to the line. We're already seeing Reese Jones, one of the starters on the front line for Charleston Southern, with 3 fouls. So definitely working in a game where R.J. Johnson is also out, not dressed tonight. He's the 3rd leading scorer for Charleston Southern.
And Coach Stoudamire talks a lot about how the key for Baye Ndongo is to pay attention to the details. He's talking about boxing out defense, trying to keep him engaged, and that's really when he's at his best. And he had some pretty big performances last year. You think about that game against Duke, as Lance Terry's called for the foul there. But if he's doing the little things right, John, it seems like the offense kind of comes to him naturally.
Yeah, and then we talk about little things. The casual fan thinks about offense. The little things on the defensive side of the ball. If you're Baye Ndongo, your positioning, you're going to be in a ton of ball screen defense. The ability to sit down, know what the scout is, be there, talk on defense. From if you're a post, you're usually behind the action. You're kind of the point guard, the catcher, so to speak. So you've got to be a very vocal player on the basketball court. But those are the little things, the details that Coach Stoudamire and his staff talk about. That's what translates to, getting to the next level.
So Barry misses the front end of the 1-and-1, and now it's going to be an offensive foul on Ndongo. Just like you were talking about, John.
Little things, unforced error, you're 45 feet from the basket, and a moving screen. So tremendous talent, having a tremendous game, but always room to improve. And I think that's what, you hopped on earlier. Speaking to Coach Stoudamire, it's how do we get better? Well, as a collective, we all have to get better at the details.
The bigs on both sides in foul trouble now. Ndongo's got 3. Luke O'Brien trying to guard down low, forces the miss. Jaeden Mustaf with some more minutes tonight with Javian McCollum out, feeds O'Brien the 3-pointer just short. And Jalen Gibson soars in for the rebound, the transfer from UNC Greensboro. Kelly lowers the shoulder. Mustaf absorbs it, nearly forced a turnover. But they'll say it stays with Charleston Southern.
O'Brien right there hit the floor diving. He's battled some injuries as well, but a guy with a ton of minutes, NCAA tournament experience.
You mentioned getting Dorian Onwuchekwa away from Colorado. He's signed a letter of intent to go there out of college or out of high school rather. Luke O'Brien, a transfer from Colorado. And now a double team down low. Gibson got a pretty good look at it, and it's batted in the air and down for Charleston Southern.
You know, you talk about details. That was an example right there. Soiree, you know, you cannot let the offensive player that close to the basket slide through, and you got to respond like that. Come back to the other end and slam it home.
Look at that smile from Baye Ndongo on the bench. Wilkins underhand flip, and Barry was losing control of the basketball, but he's fouled. Buccaneers already in the double bonus.
Here you see Nate, great court vision. Soiree, a guy that can catch and finish at the rim. You see the great length, the extension. He plays his role, you know, set good screens, play defense, be vocal, have energy, sprint the floor, finish at the rim. He's a guy that can, as the season goes on, he gets more minutes, can be a real positive for the Jackets.
He's got 6 points in just 7 minutes tonight. That's pretty good for a guy who had 3 points on the whole season. Coming into tonight, redshirt freshman from Guinea.
It's about opportunity. You know, we haven't spoken much about it, but Jackets without their leading scorer, McCullough, coming into this one.
Jaeden Mustaf into the lane, found some space and knocks it down.
The mentality right there. He was aggressive downhill. He had score in mind, gathered and shot. Just confidence right there.
After failing to score 30 points in either half against Cincinnati, Georgia Tech has got over 40, and now Ibrahim Soiree picks up his third foul.
Had the position, had the verticality. You got to stay down and take one for the team right there. He left his feet. You were there. You were there. Just take the hit.
Well, he's going to chat up Clarence Armstrong anyway.
Oh, he's got no argument on that one. He left his feet. He had the position. Bottom line, you got to let the player run you over. You know, you just got to take the hit for the team.
That might be what Clarence is telling him.
I guarantee it. Lay out, man. Take one for the team.
So Soiree to the bench on Wuchekwa. He's got 2 fouls. And Taje Kelly gets 1 out of 2. Charleston Southern 9 for 15 so far from the free throw line. Under 2 minutes to play here in the first half. Ooh, good crossover. And the elbow J. Oh, yes.
He looks real comfortable with the basketball. He's reading the defense, playing with a great pace. For a freshman to see that pace, I think it's just minutes. You know, he's getting out there, he's getting comfortable. Great execution by Mustaf.
And that's going to be 3 on Naithan George now. So for as many things that have gone right for Georgia Tech in this first half, John, they have committed as a team now 12 fouls. And beg your pardon, 13 fouls, and now Soiree, Ndongo, and George all have 3. Wilkins hits the first free throw.
Both teams fouling a lot in this one. For the Jackets, George with 3 fouls. Ndongo with 3. Soiree with 3. Terry with 2. Charleston Southern, you know, they've done a nice job this season. This is not new. They're great at picking up fouls. I think their personnel and the way they attack lends itself to that. A guy like Taje Kelly really attacks the glass, puts pressure on the defense in the interior.
Mustaf, a little backhand pass on Wuchekwa with the skyhook, no. And another foul. For Wasey Reeves, you even saw Mark Schnurr there, the official making the call, saying, all right, guys, come on. Coach Stoudamire.
Coach Stoudamire, man, that'll give you a few gray hairs.
So
Charles coaching, though. He's coaching on the sideline, talking to his young freshman. He knows. Give me some face time. Let me teach. going to pay off.
So Barry hits the first free throw. Charleston Southern, 18 free throw attempts here in the first half. And that has kept them within range. Ultimately, they're going to have to shoot the ball better from the floor, below 30% here in the first half. O'Brien flashing open down low on the block. Touch was off. Wilkins the rebound, and now Charleston Southern, if they can put together one good final minute here, this could have a different feel going into the locker room than what it might have looked like 5 minutes ago. Gibson on Reeves, attacking and hitting. It's down to 13.
It's a game of runs, and the Bucks now with a 6-0 run in the last minute of this one, so not going away, showing some fight.
One more stop and a bucket. You're feeling really good going into halftime if you're a Buccaneer. Onwuchekwa's got to get rid of it. 10 to shoot for Lance Terry. Gets past Wilkins, fading away, and he gets the roll. Barry coming up the floor with 10 seconds left in the first half. Ball screen from Kelly, a three, no! And Barry waiting for it to fly out of bounds, and with 7/10 of a second left, Buccaneers will have one chance at a baseline inbounds, and Kwesi Reeves.
Down, I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if he's cramping or grabbing the left ankle. A little early on in this one to be cramping. He might have rolled the ankle on that possession. We didn't see it. Longtime trainer Richard Stewart attending to Kwesi Reeves on the sideline. We'll get a Soiree checking into the game. Right there. Boom. Roll that. Ouch. That hurts. Hope he's okay. You see Richard Stewart, longtime athletic trainer. He'll have some time to spend with him in halftime. Looks like he's going to be able to return.
Year number 18 for Richard Stewart. Catch and shoot. Wilkins goes up, and it's a clean block. Luke O'Brien smothering Wilkins, and the Yellow Jackets will take a 15-point lead into halftime. Coach Saw Nimley arguing at midcourt. But that's the end of the first half.
And having discipline on the offensive side of the ball.
Taje Kelly goes to Onwuchekwa. And there's the third foul on Dorian Onwuchekwa.
Well, we knew Georgia Tech in foul trouble on the front line. Ndongo with 3.
Beg your pardon, that's his second.
Soiree had 2, now he has 3. So the Georgia Tech front line, and that's what happened. Kelly's a guy in a half-court situation. You put him in ISO, you see his size, his strength, his ability to put it on the ground. And both Yellow Jackets leaving their feet. And that's where we say, play hard, play smart. Playing smart means getting position, having the discipline to not foul, not bring your hands down. And right now, Jackets battling foul trouble on the front line.
So Onwuchekwa now with 2 fouls. Ndongo playing with 3. And Jalen Gibson is in for Thompson Kamara. So a change in the, or beg your pardon, for Reese Jones. So a change in the starting lineup at the beginning of the first half for Charleston Southern. Out of the timeout, a turnover, and oh my, is this going to be a foul on Baye Ndongo? It is. That is his 4th on a loose ball. You mentioned it during the break, John, that if you're Charleston Southern, the first step is trying to get Baye Ndongo his 4th foul.
Well, that means they need to get someone to the bench. Soiree will come in, and again, he has 3. So now you have a young front line with Soiree and Onwuchekwa, and things get interesting.
Still a long way to go. The lead is down to 13. Barry turns the corner, is laying a short. Gibson a second chance, and another foul on Onwuchekwa. Now he has 3. And for Georgia Tech as a team, that is now 17 fouls tonight. In hardly 30 seconds into the first half, Coach Damon Stoudamire wants a timeout. Well, Charleston Southern is getting some pieces in place to try and make a run at the Yellow Jackets in the second half. Back in a moment from McCandless Pavilion. Head coach Damon Stoudamire, not just with some choice words for his team, but with a fiery tone, trying to get the Yellow Jackets locked in for this second half. And John, that's the type of intensity you see from a guy who's been over a decade in the NBA.
Yeah, 13 seasons in the NBA. He's a storied player and now a great coach. As a player, took Zona to the Final Four. And as a head coach at Pacific, 5 years, his second year at Georgia Tech, spent time on the bench at Zona, Memphis, Rice. He knows what's coming. He's trying to get the Jackets ready. And you look at foul trouble, Ndongo, George, Soiree, Onwuchekwa, the entire front line in foul trouble. And that's what I think he was talking about. We got to be smart. We've got to have position. We've got to have discipline. And said it in an emphatic way, is from what we can tell. Trying to send the message.
And although Charleston Southern this year is shooting just 55% from the free throw line, they have hit 74% of their free throws today. And the lead's down to 11. Naithan George can't get the bucket. And now a chance to get it to single digits for Charleston Southern. Missing one of their key pieces in R.J. Johnson, who's out with injury tonight. Jalen Gibson going up against Soiree. Gibson off balance. Good defense from Soiree, and he gets the rebound.
Gibson had a good look on that. A nice left off the glass. Couldn't get it to drop.
And Soiree turns it over. Barry's going to push the pedal. And he dribbles it off his leg. It's Georgia Tech basketball. A break for the Yellow Jackets. Naithan George was trying to close down on him.
It's now 9 turnovers in the game for the Bucks.
And only 4 assists for Charleston Southern. And they're going to get Thompson Kamara there. That's his first foul.
Oden Jr. will come in for the Bucks. 20 on the shot clock. Georgia Tech in a box set. They're going to get the ball to their point guard and see if they can operate here.
George weaving, stopping, and it's batted back by Soiree. Lance Terry had 6 points in the first half, had 4 steals. Now into the lane, left hand, no, Soiree again on the glass, can't finish. And the rebound belongs to Derek Harris Jr. Soiree chasing him down. Fed down low, Kelly goes up, and there's 2, and it's down to 9.
Nate George is going to have a bruised rib tomorrow right there. That was a man move in the paint. We've got a 9-point game. Georgia Tech struggling again.
6-0 run for the Buccaneers. Start the second half. Lance Terry draws the foul, go to the line for 2. But first, you talked about a bruised rib, John. Let's take another look.
Right here, the awareness, boom. Put him on your back. Nate does a nice job not fouling on that possession. He was at a disadvantage. Georgia Tech will go to the line, trying to get back to double figures. Bucks have done a nice job getting the ball in the paint.
That is the third foul on Taje Kelly, so we've been talking about Georgia Tech's foul trouble. Charleston Southern has some of their own.
And if you're the Bucks, if you can play downhill and get some dribble penetration, get some post-ups, there's a natural tendency for less resistance when you're in foul trouble. So they're going to get some good looks. If they can have the discipline to probe and get it to the basket on dribble drives, ISO post situations.
John, you expected to see some zone from Georgia Tech with the foul trouble, and a nice touch from Taje Kelly. Finds the soft spot.
8-point game. Again, Ndongo on the bench, straddled with 4 fouls. McCullough not playing in this one, so Georgia Tech's 2 leading scorers coming in this one. You're not going to see that on the floor, so it's going to be about Georgia Tech sticking together. They're getting tested. Need to persevere right here. Stick together. You got enough talent out there. Got to find a way. Without your 2 leading scorers.
So the foul is going to go against Dalen Berry. It'll put Soare at the line. Redshirt freshman from Guinea. And already tonight he has played 10 minutes. And that is a career high, those 10 minutes. But he's brought some good energy. Yellow Jackets, though, have missed a couple of free throws here to begin the second half.
Both teams with 3 fouls, Wiley, already just under 3 minutes into this one. So much of the same. This has been a physical game.
Soare misses them both, and Dorian Onwuchek was going to get called for over the back on the rebound. That gives him 4 fouls.
Georgia Tech's going to have to play small ball. Expect to see a lot of zone, but it's got to be an aggressive zone. Active hands.
We still have...
Looks like they're going to stay man.
Over 17 minutes left, John. Then Gibson gets the ball across. There's a long way to go and a few fouls to give. Kelly, nice feed on the backdoor cut and good patience from Kamara, everything but the basket. Lance Terry trying to squeak past Kelly. He does, and it goes down anyway. Good contest from Gibson.
Terry with a nice finish in the traffic from the high archer. That ball was contested in the paint.
Lead back to double digits. Kind of reminds you of some of those baskets he got late against Georgia when he took it into his own hands. And a turnover. George races past Berry, headed to the hole. Powell corrals the rebound, and now fight for the loose ball, and the Buccaneers have it. A little bit frenetic here, and Coach Nimley wants Charleston Southern to slow it down. Kelly on Powell now. Trying to go up and under. No progress. He goes up anyway and won't get the roll. Good defense, Duncan Powell. Boise Reeves pulls the trigger on a 3. That's a quick possession for the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, and I thought that was a tough shot, especially for a senior. You haven't put one up. Defense was right there. I think the Jackets could have got a better shot selection on that possession, given the time and score.
And Lance Terry's going to get called for the foul. And that's 3 on Lance Terry. Foul trouble abound for the Yellow Jackets. But Lance Terry, spin cycle.
Lance Terry has 3, Nate George 3, and Soare with 3. And Kelly's a guy that the Bucks will play through. Right now, the Bucks at the free throw line are 17 of 23. Coming in this one, they were averaging 22 free throw attempts per game, good for 12 points. So already, with 15 minutes to play, that's been a storyline. They're 17 of 23 from the free throw line, and Georgia Tech in foul trouble.
Kelly going to work on Powell now. Eric Harris Jr., he's run the point tonight, along with Dalen Berry in the absence of R.J. Johnson. Kelly faces up, 5 to shoot. On Powell, Soare ready to help. Instead, it's a jumper. And Powell's got the rebound.
Powell, nice job holding his ground right there. He's pushing, gaining an advantage on position, and a forced contest shot.
Luke O'Brien, scoreless in the first half. Lance Terry working to get free, and it's turned over. Harris gives it right back to O'Brien. Fed ahead to Terry. There he goes, and down it goes.
Jackets force the turnover, get out, finally find some easy baskets right there. A little bucket in transition. We have not seen that in the second half. The Bucks have had control. Another forced turnover. George downhill to the rim.
He's got 10 now. And the lead is back to 14. A couple live ball turnovers just like that. Georgia Tech a little more breathing room.
Nate was picking up full court there. He's got to be careful though. He's got 3 fouls. He's got to be smart about it.
3 ball won't go. Charleston Southern, it's been a struggle all season long, and they are just 3 of 14 now. Luke O'Brien gets the roll on the 3. And Coach Nimley has no choice but to take a timeout. A 9-0 run for the Yellow Jackets. The lead is back to 17.
For the first time this half, 3 consecutive stops. That was 2 forced.
Of the lift here in the second half with those fouls, Georgia Tech's key players.
And again, if you're just tuning in, Baye Ndongo with 4 fouls, Dorian Onwuchekwa with 4 fouls. So starting front line for Georgia Tech saddled on the bench.
A bit of a growth opportunity perhaps for some of the subs for the Yellow Jackets. And a foul here, is that on George? Yes, it is. That's 4 on Nate George. And we're told Kawasi Reeves has gone to the locker room. So, I mean, the Yellow Jackets, they're dropping like flies right now.
Still committed to the man-to-man defense. Terry will come in. So let's get a rundown. We've had a lot of fouls. Where are we at, Wiley, on the foul situation?
Well, we've got Nate George, Baye Ndongo, and Dorian Onwuchekwa each with 4. As Kelly drives towards Soare, and there's 2. Then you've got Lance Terry and Ibrahim Soare, who are on the floor. They each have 3. So that's 5 different Yellow Jackets with 3 or more fouls. Jaeden Mustaf floats it high. It won't go, and the rebound off the face of Jalen Gibson. Duncan Powell ends up with it, and he muscles up for 2.
Nice physical finish by Powell. Timely bucket. And we got Kawasi Reeves in the locker room being attended to by Richard Stewart. And McCullough out of this one, not dressed.
So that's 5 in foul trouble, and 2 appear to be out for the game. Gibson on Soare. And nearly had an and one. Jalen Gibson in his first year at Charleston Southern. He'll head to the line. And that's 4 on Soare.
And if you look at the Georgia Tech lineup, what is absent out there? You don't have a lot of primary ball handlers. You've got Soare, you've got Powell, you got O'Brien, you got Mustaf. Really, Terry's your guy. There you see right there the foul. And again, that's why Georgia Tech's playing with this lineup. Foul trouble, foul trouble, foul trouble. And the Bucks unable to convert. 55% from the free throw line coming into this one. And a chance to cut into the lead and just unable to drop it. If 50%'s not going to do it, Wiley. They've got to be able to capitalize at the free throw line to have a chance in this one.
Well, it might if Georgia Tech can only have 4 players on the floor. The way
my team's
things
on
are
the
going.
floor, right?
Yes, exactly. Mustaf feeds Soare, and it's swatted out of play by Jalen Gibson. I haven't talked much about Gibson tonight. He spent a couple of years at NC State, then on to Winston-Salem State for a season. Redshirted at UNC Greensboro last year. But he's actually played in this building. Played here a couple years ago with NC State.
Gibson's got good length. He's playing 16 minutes per game coming into this one. Shooting 73% from the field. He's 19 of 26. Coach, get him the ball more. He's got six points, 5 boards a game.
Mustaf attacking Gibson. He earns the foul.
I like the aggressive play. Downhill, Mustaf had success with that in the first half. The ability to score in the paint, utilizing his size, and he'll have a chance to go to the free throw line. And the Jackets get some cushion in this one.
3 for 4 at the free throw line this year. Jaeden Mustaf, a product of Overtime Elite. That's a private school basketball program based in Midtown Atlanta, just down the street. He, along with Darion Sutton, 2 Overtime Elite alumni, and you're seeing more and more of those guys sprinkled throughout both college and professional basketball as Mustaf hits both free throws. Then lead is up to 18. So as much as the foul trouble is a concern, Charleston Southern got a long way to go. And here's the zone from Georgia Tech.
Well, it's just a matter of time. I mean, it's a game of numbers. You're playing without some of your starters due to foul trouble. You got to structure. And who knocked that down? Number 1, Odin Jr.
Yeah, Lamar Odin Jr., he has struggled from three-point range this year. That was a big part of his game. But really, the last couple of seasons, that stroke just has not been there.
Yeah, and that's, if you're the Georgia Tech coaching staff, you're like, go zone, and then the first possession.
Yes.
A guy that shoots on the season, 6 of 33 coming in this one, knocks it down like it's nothing, and you got to just shake your head.
Mustaf's jumper is short. Wilkins, the freshman, driving the floor, feeds to Gibson. Great footwork, Jalen Gibson, as he skates down the lane.
And that's where if you can play downhill, there's no resistance by Georgia Tech. No one wants to pick up that 4th, 5th foul, so the Bucks can have success if they play fast and play downhill, get the ball to the paint.
And it's imperative in that case that Georgia Tech do not turn the ball over, as Onwuchekwa's three-pointer barely draws the rim. Wilkins, pop and stop 3, way short, and that'll be Georgia Tech basketball. Charleston Southern not going away. 11 to play, down by 13. Coach Saw Nimley, the Big South Player of the Year, he's getting back into that stance that he showcased 10 years ago when he was a Buccaneer. So under 11 to play, a 13-point lead for Georgia Tech. Mustaf takes it to the rim. Jaeden Mustaf just owning that drive.
Mustaf now with 12 points. If there's a bright spot for the Jackets in this one, something you did not expect, it was Mustaf to be leading all scorers. Again, talented freshman, but we just haven't seen him. He's been injured.
And good defense by the Yellow Jackets, and you've been forced to see him tonight, John, with Javian McCullum out in protocol, and then also Nate George with 4 fouls. It's been on the shoulders of Mustaf, and now Duncan Powell ahead of the line.
Powell gets to the line, yeah. I think backcourt play, 10 minutes left, get the ball in Terry and George's hands. They combined for 21 points, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. But both are in foul trouble. So, but I think they're your leaders. They're going to make good decision making, and then it's really about defensing and playing smart. Whether it's the zone or the man, having the discipline to not foul, keep Charleston Southern off the free throw line.
And right now, Georgia Tech appears they're going to get Taje Kelly off the floor. That was his 4th foul. Charleston Southern's leading scorer with 17. He has to head to the bench. And it feels like it's going to be a decision by KO tonight more than it is going to be going the full 12 rounds.
You can find me KO'd on the couch tomorrow after my 3rd helping of turkey and stuffing and some desserts.
That's just a normal Thursday evening for you, John.
Yeah. See the kind of pies on the table, and not that kind of pie. I know we're on Georgia Tech's campus, but
take 3.14 slices. In transition, Lance Terry to the
off.
roof again.
Jackets finally find a way to get out in transition and stretching this one open. Up 19, 9:50 to play. In the zone, causing problems for the Bucks.
6-0 run for the Yellow Jackets over the last minute. Zipped inside. And Coach Damon Stoudamire is upset the shot clock is incorrect. Looking up there, it felt like it'd been about 15 seconds, and all of a sudden the shot clock read 20. And we're going to have to take a look at this.
Damon's going to use some time to gather with his team. He's on top of it, though.
Yeah, the shot clock reset, and it wasn't a problem of it. Did a shot come close to hitting the rim, or there was no shot? It just all of a sudden reset, and our officiating crew is going to take a look and try and figure out where it should be. And as Mark Schnurr looks at the replay, you can see Clarence Armstrong having a friendly conversation there with head coach Saw Nimley for Charleston Southern. That might be a preview of some conversations you see around the Thanksgiving table. You got, a couple distant relatives, haven't seen each other in a while, don't really get along. That's what that looks like to me, doesn't it?
Yeah. Nimley, I'm impressed with Nimley. He's got the art of communication.
He really does.
He's a point guard. He's a floor general. The eye contact when he's addressing the officials. He's smart, savvy. Even as a coach, he was a hell of a player.
All right, so here we go, 25-24. And all of a sudden, the game clock and the shot clock are not rolling right now. So that's the issue. It stopped at 9:43, and it wasn't just the shot clock, it was the clock as a whole. And it still hasn't run, and now it starts moving. I mean, that had to be at least 6-7 seconds conservatively. But that's what happened there, is both clocks stopped. And so they've got a stopwatch out.
We don't know if it was human error or technological difficulty.
This might take a moment to sort out, as they've got to work on the timing here. And again, there it stops, 9:43, and then didn't resume for, again, I'm saying 6 to 7 seconds conservatively. Now, the other piece of this too, John, is you can't put Charleston Southern at too much of a disadvantage. And if there were just 3 seconds in the clock, they probably would have behaved differently, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just part of the game. You got to adjust. Given the situation, time's going to go back on the clock. Both teams, both coaches having time right now to regroup. For Georgia Tech right now, you've got a 19-point advantage. The message has got to be defense, rebound, be disciplined, take care of the ball. We are in control. Let's not foul. Let's not give away points at the free throw line. You've got Baye Ndongo straddled with 4. He'll be coming back into this one shortly. You're in good shape there. What you don't want is a run. Couple threes, downhill, 8, then it gets to 10, and now the Bucks would think they have a chance. Let's see what we got, Wiley. What's the verdict?
9:22 on the clock and only 2 seconds on the shot clock. That's a tough break for Charleston Southern on the clock malfunction. So they're going to have to draw something out here.
Yep. Tough break, side out of bounds. You got to get something, either curling towards the basket or screen and go away from the basketball, throw over the top and have an ISO situation on the other side of the ball, other side of the court. 2 seconds is all you got, though.
There's Kawasi Reeves back on the bench. He was in the locker room. And I suppose the referees, they don't have a whole lot of discretion. So 2 seconds on the clock. It's batted in the air and a turnover.
Well, Georgia Tech smart, staying in the zone, protecting the basket. And there was nothing open on that play.
Mustaf goes up, and Jaeden Mustaf, 14 points now, leads all Georgia Tech scorers.
Savvy game by the freshman. He's not shooting threes. He's taking what the defense gives. He has the advantage, and he's been a high percentage guy in the paint today.
Barry trying to sneak through the zone, kicks out. Lamar Odom Jr.'s 3, well short. And the rebound and last touched. I think Baye Ndongo. Was that the rule? I think it'll stick with Charleston Southern. But one more look at this drive from Jaeden Mustaf, John.
A four-star prospect coming out of overtime elite. Right there, he's had that all day. Driving downhill, Odin Jr. has nothing for him. Mustaf is tearing them apart. First half, second half, he's been consistent.
And they're going to say it was a foul on Onwuchekwa, so he is out of the game. That is his 5th.
That's just bad luck for the Jackets. Onwuchekwa is averaging 8 rebounds per game in the last 3 coming into this one as he has been inserted in the starting lineup.
So Odin Jr. at the line. Hits the front end of a 1-and-1. But going back to Jaeden Mustaf, John, we spoke to Coach Stoudamire this morning. He was adamant that Jaeden just had not played like the player he knows him to be. And I think we've seen some flashes of that tonight. And ultimately, he gets an extended run tonight because of the injury to Jaden McCollum, the foul trouble for Naithan George. And although there was probably a little more heartburn involved at times tonight, you could look back on this game and say, well, that foul trouble actually gave Jaeden Mustaf a chance to sort of find his legs here at the college level.
Yeah, it was only averaging 13 minutes per game coming into this one. So finally a game where he gets some flow. And as a player, you get your confidence, just get a better feel out there the more you're out on the floor touching the ball.
How about that feel for Duncan Powell? That's some nice touch.
Well, he was a bright spot against Cincinnati. He had 10 points and kept the Jackets in that one. And
there is Kanan Wilkins. Another Buccaneers 3-point percentage down in the low 20s entering tonight. Powell trying to answer, halfway down and out.
Suarez got to be careful swiping over the back. 94 feet from the bucket. That's with 4 fouls.
Taje Kelly on the floor with 4 fouls. Goes on Luke O'Brien. And that'll put Kelly at the line when we come back. Georgia Tech, a 19-point lead. Time running out for Charleston Southern as they try and pull off the upset.
Mustaf, physicality of these guards, playing downhill, too much for the Bucks to handle. Georgia Tech with a comfortable lead right now, 19-point advantage and 7:27 to play.
It'll be Taje Kelly at the line. He leads all scorers with 17 points tonight, but it's come on 15 shots. He's 4 for 8 at the free throw line so far tonight. From Atlanta out of Grayson High School. He played against Lance Terry back in high school. Of course, for both those guys, that was a long time ago. Lance in his 6th year, and Taje Kelly in his 4th season, playing in his 100th career game tonight. So he hits both free throws, lead down to 17. Mustaf feeds Powell. Too strong. Baye Ndongo has played less than a minute in this second half. Naithan George has played only 6. It's been the bench for Georgia Tech that's trying to carry the load here. And with under 7 minutes to play, got a sizable lead. And Georgia Tech looking for some deep shot clock possessions.
Smart play by Mustaf.
Seven to shoot. Spin, lift off. And a foul coming here. It's going to go against Dalen Berry. He one of the few players not in foul trouble.
Yeah, just a smart possession by the Jackets. The ability to burn some clock and then get a downhill action with your hot hand in Mustaf.
Now Thompson Kamara coming in for Keenan Wilkins. Lead up to 19, 6.5 minutes to play. Charleston Southern trying to save every last second here. Terry walks up on Barry.
Georgia Tech will sit in that zone. Needs to be an active zone, active hands, be there on the catch, try not to foul.
Kelly tries to tap it in, he does. Georgia Tech contending the ball was on the rim. And they're going to take a look here. Potential offensive basket interference as Kareem Soare. I'm not sure if he's frustrated or maybe he took a lick there on the chin.
I believe he took a lick by Taje Kelly. We'll get a look at it right here. Right there, that left elbow, and I think he got a double time. Got a second helping, not the right way. This
no. Little extra kick to it. So they're going to rule that no basket. They will take a look at it at the under 4 media timeout. So for the moment, it's a 19-point lead, but didn't get the perfect look there on that replay. It is subject to change. Baye Ndongo back on the floor as Soare heads to the bench. Ndongo playing with 4 fouls. Alley-oop, and he flushes it. Under 6 to play. Three-point splash, Thompson Kamara. He has hit 2 of those tonight. He had just 1 to begin the season, and now he's 3 of 4 tonight. Not bad for a guy who was 1 for 9 the first 6 games. Lance Terry, count the basket. He'll go to the line.
Yeah, when the Jackets have needed a bucket, they've put the ball in Terry's hands, and he's delivered. And again, the last time he turned the corner, the last possession he turned the corner, went middle. There he gave the shifty move, but he was going middle and came back the other direction. Heady play, high IQ, getting what he wants. Downhill, going towards the basket, takes the contact.
That's the free throw, but Terry's got 15 points tonight.
This guy that played 3 years at Gardner-Webb, took last season off due to injury, and so he's really inserted himself on the offensive side of the ball here. Again, he led all scorers against Georgia in the loss to Georgia for the Jackets. He had 20 points all in the second half, and he's building off that momentum.
Baye Ndongo, some nice touch. Charleston Southern, though, John, they've now hit 7 of 20 three-pointers. That was not the expectation coming in. It's going to be something positive they can build on. The shot starting to fall a little bit. Because they were at 26% from beyond the arc entering play tonight.
And without R.J. Johnson out due to injury, and he led all three-point shooters with 15 on the season. He was shooting 44%, so some other guys stepping up.
Kamara, my goodness. He's now 4 of 5. Transfer from Frank Phillips Junior College in North Texas. Talking about coming out of nowhere. And Jaeden Mustaf just continuing to attack, and Georgia Tech gets a little help that time. Under 4 minutes to play, Georgia Tech ahead by 18. Kelly, good move, but not enough touch. And Thompson Kamara, he has hardly missed at all. Pump fake. If that had gone in, he'd really be feeling it. Instead, here comes Georgia Tech in control here, and Coach Damon Stoudamire wants a timeout. Just over 3.5 minutes to play. The Yellow Jackets ahead, 81-63. They can smell a 500 record for the sweet potato pie. We already talked about your love for sweet potato pie. Well, seriously, what is your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
You know what?
I like when everyone, I've got kids, so, in-laws are in, the kids. I like at the end of the day, I'm watching some football. It's about 9 o'clock at night, and the leftovers, like a turkey sandwich with some, some stuffing and cranberry sauce, and that's what I go for. The leftover sandwich that night, and hit a little cup of coffee and dessert. That's my go-to.
Now, for this Thanksgiving, are you going to watch Packers-Dolphins, or are you going to throw in old Tom Brady highlights?
I'm a Pats fan. It's been a while. We're in a rebuild in New England.
Yeah, not quite like being a Falcons fan, huh? We'll leave that alone. Dalen Berry leaves it short. And Nate George comes out with it. And he lays it in, absorbing the contact that time. And Nate George in double figures again, one of 4 Yellow Jackets with 12 or more points tonight. And a blocking foul on Mustaf. And that'll put Reese Jones at the free throw line.
I might have had that call the other way. I'm just...
Well, you're a contrarian.
I'm biased, though.
Yeah.
Mustaf earned it. He had a great game. A freshman. I thought his feet were there. They were set.
Instead, Jones hits the first free throw. Reese Jones out of Fort Washington, Maryland, Flint Hill High School. You know a little something about Flint Hill, huh?
Great. Dennis Scott, number in the Raptors. We enjoyed that on the night of the Georgia game. Dennis Scott. Flint Hill's, I got to imagine, best player ever coming out of there. Played for the legendary Stu Vetter. And number 4 went to the Raptors inside the Camish Pavilion last week.
Meanwhile, number 11 on the floor, Baye Ndongo. He's now a perfect 8 for 8 tonight. 17 points and 6 boards.
Made the most of his time when he was out there, but the foul trouble really hurt him. Sat most of the second half of this one.
That 3 way short from Thompson Kamara.
Baye will get another rebound.
He puts up a double-double playing just 18 minutes. That'll be something. Under 2 to play, Jaeden Mustaf. Georgia Tech going to move to 3-3. Nate George gets that floater working. Tech will be wrapping up this 7-game season opening homestand on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock against Central Arkansas. Duncan Powell going to get called for the foul there. And then after that game against Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech will hit the road. First, the SEC-ACC Challenge at Oklahoma. Then at North Carolina on December 7th. That game against Northwestern is a neutral site game. It'll be played in Milwaukee. And Georgia Tech will return home to face UMBC, the Terriers, and then the first ACC home game after that will be Duke on a Saturday afternoon in McCamish.
Duke took a tough one last night against Kansas, but what a high-level game. I mean, you look at Duke, Carolina, they're back.
Yep. In fact, they're the only 2 teams in the ACC currently in the top 25. Duke at 11 and North Carolina at 12. But we were talking earlier, who do you kind of like outside of those 2 programs in the ACC?
Yeah, it'll be fun to see how that shakes out. I like Pitt. I think Coach Capel has got a good core returning. I like their style of play. Louisville trying to rebuild there as well. They had a huge win last night. Could that be signs of what's to come out of Louisville this season? We don't know.
Yeah, did you see what they did today? As you get a look here, foul's going to go against Lamar Odom Jr. But Louisville today, check out this score, John.
Yeah, Wake Forest competitive, Clemson always be in the mix. 89-61, Louisville over Indiana today.
Yeah.
Indiana, Coach Mike Woodson's done a great job there. They're ranked 12th in the country, so that's a huge win for Louisville.
Ndongo misses the free throw. Look at Charleston Southern's upcoming schedule. They're not done with ACC opponents yet. They've got the Miami Hurricanes on Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
I'm wondering if they go right from Atlanta and spend an extra day or 2 in Miami. That's what I'd be doing around the holiday.
Final minute. Ndongo cuts loose a three. And it'll be Buccaneer basketball. Well, I want to know what Miami fans are going to be there, because you got a 2 o'clock home game, but the football team for Miami, you got a big game against Syracuse, and that's at 3:30. Crowd might thin out there in the second half.
Georgia Tech a couple weeks back, that was a huge win for Brent Key and his football program, taking out the number 5 then ranked Canes at home. And then Coach Key on a Thursday night game on ESPN, they pulled off the miracle. If everyone thought it was over, and they found a way to get it done. And so they'll go to Athens, crosstown rival, play the Bulldogs. Never an easy one, 7:30 p.m. Toe meets leather.
Well, cross-state rival.
You're right.
Georgia, technically not in Atlanta. There'll be some debate about that. You'll hear occasionally. Just want to make sure we got it straight.
I think you got it accurate.
Yeah, we got to make sure we got the facts straight. All right. It's that time of year, folks. 87-67, Georgia Tech. Gonna get back to 500 overall. Duncan Powell's gonna go to the free throw line, and I thought Coach Stoudamire, offered some candor after the loss to Cincinnati. He's pretty blunt. This is not where I thought we were going to be at this point in the season. 2-3, and a lopsided loss at home to Cincinnati. But he was pretty matter-of-fact about it. He said, there's really only one thing for us to do. That's get back to work. And he kind of described his whole career in basketball has been based on 2 things: playing hard and being tough. And I think we saw some of that tonight from Georgia Tech.
There's a lot of wisdom there, and I hope that this Yellow Jacket team just embraces the wisdom that he brings to the table. The great players he's been around, the coaches, the mentors he's had. Even he was working with the Boston Celtics prior to coming over to the Tech. So a wealth of knowledge, and certainly he's done a nice job on the recruiting trails here, up in the talent level.
And Naithan George drills a 3. That'll give him 17 tonight. You saw Taje Kelly fouled out with 20. That ought to be enough to lead all scorers. Lance Terry the rebound. The Yellow Jackets can dribble it out. And after a couple of tough losses here at home, the Yellow Jackets bounce back with a much-needed 91-67 win over Charleston Southern. And John, tonight, a big step for Georgia Tech, moving in the right direction.
A get-right game, 91 points, again coming off a 58-point outing in the loss to Cincinnati. So feel good going into tomorrow. Have a good meal, enjoy the family and friend time. That's what it's all about. And both teams will be back in action on the weekend.
That's going to do it.